the Bill of Rights. And we want to thank you, Luca, for everything that you've done to help save America. And we're fortunate to have you here with us, side by side. Let's give a warm welcome to the wonderful Luca Zanna.
First of all, I would like to thank all of you guys, because to be here, to listen to me with my accent and my poor grammar, thank you very much, is kind of an honor. And on top, I promise, I'm not running for anything, so I'm not here to ask you for signature or anything else. But my goal today is to share my experience as a human being, as an American, and the opportunity to be here among you, become one of you, and witnessing what we are witnessing right now as a nation, the destruction of this nation, not by accident, it's been by design. And for me, the goal of today is to share, inspire each other, learn from each other, and find solutions, because time is short. This is not about entertaining. You know, it's Saturday. You have beautiful things you can do with your family. To be here, it's a commitment, and I appreciate that. So I would like to thank, first of all, the people that put together this beautiful event, Kristen, Bill, and all the volunteers, and of course, mostly you that you came here to listen. A little bit about me. As you heard, I wasn't born here. I was born in Rome, Italy, and I grew up in a little town called Anzio. Some of your fathers or grandfathers, I had the opportunity or the chance or even the duty and the sacrifice to go there. It wasn't for touristic reason. It was a big landing area, one of the landing spots in Italy. And many of young men and even women died on the coast of Anzio. It was an interesting story. This is not the time, but if you have a chance, go to check it out. It started like a regular landing. There were not many German troops in the first few hours. And unfortunately for some, let's say, miscalculation by General Clark, it became a bloodbath. So I'm here today to fulfill my oath as a new American, to somehow give back what your fathers and grandfathers gave to my family. Some of your fathers and grandfathers never made it back. And since I was a child, I grew up learning about these war stories from my grandfather, and I was always very touched in my soul, in my heart, about thinking how many young men died for my family that they even didn't know. And I grew up with these feelings, and I wanted to learn more about America. And when I started to learn, I started to read, I started to understand, I understood that this country, it was the most unique place in the world. As much as there is no perfection in this planet, we are humans after all. The experiment that our founding fathers, they were able to achieve, putting together this Constitution and Bill of Rights, the concept that we the people, we are the final authority, and more important, that we don't have privileges, we have rights, and government exists because of us, not vice versa. So I was really, I couldn't believe, because I was growing up in Italy, and you're pretty much just a worker. In the Constitution, you are a worker, that's it. Government gives you rights, and it's not a right, it's a privilege. And I give you an example. You know, Krista, you were mentioning I used to be in the music business, and I used to publish a music magazine. When I started my music magazine, I had to go to the judge to ask permission to have a license to start to operate my magazine. And to have that, I needed to have a director with a special license, with a special card, that only because of that man with a special piece of paper that was some sort of a bureaucratic process, I could exercise, of course, in a limited way, my First Amendment. And any time the government decided that what I was saying would be compromising or wrong or whatever, they could remove that license. And I had no more chance to exercise my First Amendment. So just to let you know where I'm coming from, okay? So, I want to cut it short, you know, in destiny, I believe in the law of chemistry. Nothing gets destroyed. All transforms. I went through some tough times, I went through some better times, but then, before I was able to come here, I almost had to reach the bottom. I had to decide really what I wanted to do in my life, and I was getting older. When I left Italy, I wasn't young anymore, I was 28, almost 29. And for me, it was a kind of a strong decision to leave my family behind, my mom, my brother, my grandfathers who are still alive, and come to a place that my language was not exactly my strength, and I didn't really have nothing yet for me, but just to start from scratch. And I believe it was a purpose. So I followed my heart, I was able to come here, I didn't jump the fence, I went to an embassy, as Kristen said, and I was able to achieve a visa. And from there I had the most beautiful years of my life. I was able to build my business, to create my little American dream. Now I come down why I'm here today. This country is at the last few hours before its destruction. Unfortunately, I don't want to sound gloom and doom, but this is just realistic. And it didn't happen with Obama, guys. It didn't start with Obama, okay? Let's be real here. I don't believe in left and right. I believe in right and wrong. I don't believe in liberals and in conservative. I believe in what is true and false. I believe if there is a republic like we're supposed to be, or there is a socialist global tyranny that we are facing. Unfortunately, this process of destruction of America started a long time ago. Yes, now with Mr. Obama, we are at the final closing. This is the very limited time we have. But before we start to find solutions, we need to start to maybe address where are the problems, where started all this, who are the real enemies. Otherwise we can still, you know, going in the darkness and we'll never address the real enemies. I don't want to go start everything, but let's give you the basic, at least what I think is the basic according to my research. We're going to have now a question and answer pretty soon. Tell me if you have different opinions about it. The first thing I think we lost as a sovereign country, as America, it has been 1913 with the Federal Reserve Act. The Federal Reserve is as federal as the Federal Express. It's a private cartel of bankers. They took over the most important role of government, to issue the currency. Think about it. Before 1913, we didn't have to go to a private cartel of banks every time the government needs $1 to beg for the dollar and pay interest. They create money out of thin air. Think about it. This money, they're not even backed anymore by gold and silver. They're just like virtual, but they charge you interest. Before 1913, we did not have an income tax. Think about it. This was the only nation in the world that you as an individual, you could be able to keep the value of your labor. You didn't have to work anymore under the king or under the lords. We've been taken over. I know exactly 100 years, long time passed, but please, if only one thing I can leave you from today's meeting about a little seed of information I would like to share with you, go to your internet and find this video. It's free now also on YouTube. Write it down if you want. It's America from Freedom to Fascism by Aaron Russo. It explains very well the creation of this monster called the Private Federal Reserve. It's all connected, my friends. If we think we have a government for the people, it is not the case. This government now responds only to private interests of international bankers. And then you will see the difference now, that there is no more difference. Did you see a difference between Senator Graham, Senator McCain, Mr. Senator Schumer, or any other from the other side? They are playing the same game. Yeah, we have some few exceptions. We still have some good people. I believe especially state and local level. And that's our strength, especially in our state of Arizona. We need to really work hard for that. But at federal level, these people are just little puppets. And let me see who is behind, because sometimes we blame the finger, you know. I was one of the first people, and was kind of a very bad Republican in 2009, and I'm proud of it. When, because I never pledged allegiance to a party, I pledged allegiance to America. When I became a citizen, 2005, there was no party I had to, in my oath, there was no Republican or Democratic Party to pledge an allegiance to. There was no men or women. It was about to America, and to its republic and its constitution. And that's where my allegiance stands. So my point is, in 2009, in Little Mojave County, Senator McCain comes to our county building, and he wanted to do his own show. That's fine, it's his right. And all I wanted to do is pass out a little flyer, showing that his voting records, it is not what it says. At the time, I understand, it was a very bad thing to try to expose with facts Senator McCain. I didn't care. Many people didn't want to talk to me, whatever. I had also to sue in federal court, the county, because what I thought was a violation of my First Amendment, and with me also there were some other people, among them some veterans. I felt very bad for them. We were not even able to pass a flyer peacefully on county property. That's not America. This is like becoming more and more like Russia. I think Russia, they have probably more rights now. Now, my point is this. I don't need to remind you what's happened to this country. You're here, you already know. I don't want to be redundant. You know that we are really now more than just the political differences. This is becoming physical. This is becoming now that they will take your life if they have to. Because this generation must go. That's why they're working so hard to steal the next generation through the public education system and this common core that you are aware. Because they know that we are the last wall among them, their goals, and what they want to achieve. The new generation is going to be unfortunately very easy for them to convince, because they never really tasted freedom. And let's look at this now. We live in America that right now, I'm sure most of you are aware, we're under National Defense Authorization Act. Both parties voted for this travesty. This brings us back before pre-Magna Carta. I mean, this is worse than China, Russia, and every tyrannical government put together. Just to give you an idea, now the government, a bureaucrat in the government, can get the military, repealing also the posse comitatus, can be used on US soil for police action. Any one of us right now, we are potential domestic terrorists, and you are aware of it. There are so many reasons. Just because you disagree, just because maybe you believe in God, or maybe you believe in the Second Amendment, or you believe in freedom, that's enough. With this definition of domestic terrorism, any one of us can disappear, can be arrested without habeas corpus. There's no more body of the crime. They don't need to prove anything. No judge, no trials, no jury. This is worse than China, guys. Seriously, China, at least they give you a free mock little trial, then they shoot you in the back. At least they know where your body is. You're gonna be disappearing. And if you think it cannot happen to us, guess what? It's already happening. I went down to the Bandis, and I was proud to be there, not just because about the grazing rights, of course, and the cow. I don't even need cow. It's about freedom. It's about when I see an American woman, grandmother, cancer survivor, on video, be taken from the back and thrown on the ground just because she's asking a question. It's my duty as an American to be there. When I see a man taking photos of snipers, I'm talking about snipers, they can't even put the snipers on the southern borders with Mexico, but they put it on us, on unarmed Americans, just because they are there protesting. And he takes photo and he gets tased 4 times on video. I have a problem with that. We should all have a problem. When I see that the federal government in the middle of the desert, they tell you that this 10 by 10 little cattle area, this is for you, slave. You can here exercise your First Amendment. And if you do outside this area, you will be tased and arrested. I have a problem with that. We are already under martial law. not just because it doesn't happen in front of your door yet. It's already happening. That's an example. So now, first of all, my humble opinion, I've been asked to be here. There is so much to say, but I want to condensate things. We need to first of all admit that we have a problem. This problem didn't start just with Obama. They are all in the same bed. They are together. Look at the senators, look at Congress, look at the presidents. I mean, if you don't agree with National Defense Authorization Act, that I think every normal human being wouldn't, you would think the same about the Patriot Act. We've been duped there too. And we need to find out there is so much more. Behind every crisis, government grows more and more stronger, centralized, and sometimes crises they also call false flags. You can look into that. Today maybe is not the day. So my point is, what are we going to do now? First of all, don't think that we have any help coming from somebody in Washington. That's my opinion. Look around. We have each other. And more important tonight, you look at yourself in the mirror. You are the answer. And we are, and then, I'm not going to try to preach to you guys, but if you believe in God, that's the best help you can get right now. Because I'm telling you, this is not just a political battle. This is a battle of the spirit, the battle of the souls. It's happening in this dimension. You may believe or not, that's fine, I don't care. But this is a fact. If you don't have moral and more important spiritual strength, you're not going to be able to face all this. And I give you an example. Coming back to the Bundys. The Bundys were just a family. The rest of us went there to join. There was this moment of the standoff, the famous standoff, that probably you saw videos or photos. Most of us, at least us on the front line, they were the horses, and they were the kids, the women, and the farmers. And the regular people like me were all unarmed. Intentionally, I took my gun off. One of the few exceptions I did that. Because I wanted to be in front of these people, these BLM or whatever they were. They were pointing gun at us. And at that point, I didn't want to give them an excuse to shoot me. If they wanted to shoot it, go ahead. I'm ready for the next destination. Are you? When they understood that men, women, kids, regular people, just regular people, we said no, enough, we don't care, we are not afraid of your guns. We the people, I brought this in front of them like the holy water. Did you take an oath to uphold this constitution or you're just a thug? And I told them, at that point, this is something never happened before. Since 1775, since 1946, the Battle of Athens. Go Google it, something you may find interesting. We've been trained too long to just get along. I have too many things to lose. I have a mortgage to pay. I have bills to do. We have a vacation next week. Our founding fathers lost everything they had. They lost their lives. They lost their properties. They lost their wives, their kids, for an ideals. And it wasn't a movie, it was brutal. It was like the moment that they decided, they say, no, King George, we won't comply anymore with this. They jump in a room, the dark room, the door shuts in the back, and you are alone with yourself and God, till the door is going to open again, hopefully. That's what they went through, and we forgot that. We've been living a beautiful life, and we lost the type of, I think I almost call aggressiveness to stand up. So first of all, we need to stand up with faith, because only when you have faith, you realize that you have nothing more to lose, but whatever you're going to lose is going to be the regrets of the things that you were afraid to do or say. And that you can exercise at any moment of your life. You don't need to go to the Bundys. You don't need to go to Washington. I'm sure in your city, in your town, in your school district, there is a call for you. You cannot do it all, but you can pick one little battle at a time. You know, you can choose where you can, even just writing a letter to the editor, signing your name. Think about it, it's millions of us. At the Bundys, we were a few hundreds. With just a few hundred people, we were able for a moment to say, stop. Stop being a thug. Stop being a tyrant. And we expose your fraud, by the way, Senator Reid. You know that your chief of staff is in charge of the BLM, and your son is in charge of the PR firm selling us out to China to get that land for a solar farm. We understand, and don't try to use the law against us, because that's what they're trying to do now. Oh, we must follow the law. Remember, the law can be abused. I believe in the rule of law, but what if the law got corrupted? Judges are just other human beings. The Supreme Court, don't forget, that said that the slavery was okay. I don't care what the Supreme Court says. Rosa Parks supposedly has to follow the law, and she didn't. There is a point that we the people, we must remind to the government that we, the power, comes from us. Government can make very funny laws. Are we going to follow every law they say? I think the first law we should remember is this: the law of the land, United States Constitution, Bill of Rights. Everything against that, go to hell. Okay? Then we talk. So, we must understand we have this problem. It's not about left and right. It's not about liberal or conservative. It's about tyranny or freedom. Okay? And at this point, we need to start to understand we've been playing. Who is behind? Politicians, they're just the front face. The first thing I would like to tell you, the moment that we start to speak up on their face, that's the worst nightmare. We've been trained to be good Republicans or good Democrats, always to follow the plan from the top master plan, you know, like Washington Republican Party tells you what to do. Let's stop settling or just compromising. No more compromise. Look where we are now with the compromise. We compromise with McCain, we compromise with the other one. It's all part of the plan. Stop. At least if we lose with our own convictions. But I think we will win. We lost because we were compromising in everything we've been doing. Not all of us, but that's the reality. So, at this point, let's individualize these real enemies. The private Federal Reserve, I invite you that something can be done. We're not going to be able to take back this country until we take back our own system to issue the currency. It's vital. There is no way. Think about it. Now we are like slaves. You go to work, you have a monkey on your back, and then you gotta pay your fair share. Before 1930, we didn't have income tax. And we had everything and more. We were not in debt, we were the most prosperous country in the world. Ronald Reagan, President Reagan, the first few months that he took office, he did an investigation to find out exactly where all this money from the income tax, where do they go? Go find out. The results were astonishing. Most of the money that the federal government get from you, from the income tax, they go to just pay the debt that we have with this monster called private Federal Reserve. Think about it. We could print our own money as a country. No, we have to get some sort of a selected special private bankers. They're doing it for us. And they charge us interest. And they buy out our government. That's the problem, in my opinion. So, number one, we gotta individualize that. Second thing, we have to look at the big picture. This is not just about some corruption, some liberals that want to be just still in our pocket, or some French Republicans that want just to, you know, make an extra buck. No. This is about the destruction of America and on its ashes to create a global government, New World Order. Don't start to look at me if you think it's a conspiracy, because somebody before me, like Mr. Bush's father, he said this word more than 150 times. Okay? So we need to understand the plan. That's why they hate us. This generation, they want us out. Because to create a global government, you must destroy what is left of America. They want us morally bankrupts, economically bankrupts, and of course, politically bankrupts. They want no more left anything of sovereignty. And that's now all connects. Illegal immigration, it is not just to make an extra buck for the big guys or just to get an extra vote for the Democrats. It is about to dissolve the fiber of this republic. How many times the last few presidents, Bush, Obama, the other Bush, they use the word democracy, democracy, democracy. Our founding fathers, I'm sure they would spit on their faces every time any of these bastards use the word democracy. I'm sorry for my English because I get really mad when it comes to that. Because this is part of brainwashing. We are not a democracy. We are a constitutional republic. And the difference is very important. 51% of us right now in this room, in a democracy, we can steal the rights, the properties to the 49%. Who control the masses, control everything. Think about now if you have 30 millions of illegal aliens coming here, being able to vote. They don't come from the background of republic, bill of rights, property rights, no. Most of the time they come from socialistic countries, being treated like slaves, and when they get a little bit of a benefit or whatever, they'll do everything they want, you want. So they can control these 30 million new voters to destroy us completely. And we will be gone then. And at that point, seriously, we're going to go face something that we wish we never had to face. We had to draw the line in the sand. Think about the Bolshevik Revolution. There was middle class there. There were regular people there. And out of the blue in the morning they face guns on their faces. And then to fight for their properties, fight for their lives. Because they thought that at that point, hey, look at today. You don't like, you talk badly about an ethnic group, and I'm not condoning that, but guess what? They can take your property. I don't follow the NDAA, but what I heard is scary. Very bad precedent. We're facing this America. So at this point, we must fight against illegal immigration. Every type of politician, McCain, Flake, whoever, state level, condone amnesty. It is not just bad for the jobs that we are complete depression. It is bad because it's going to be the last nail, the last knife in the heart of this republic. That's why it's vital to get passionate at this. This is not just about we agree to disagree. No, you're killing my country, bastard. And I have a problem with you. Seriously. And I will tell you on your face. I'm not violent, but I will tell you on your face. Because you'll destroy what's left of this republic. This is bigger than just immigration. If we lose this battle, we are gone. There is no more purpose. We're going to be outnumbered. You cannot make up 30 million new voters. I don't even want to go now to the abortion part. Yeah. That's another important thing. If we don't speak up, we are part of evil. We must at least out loud denounce when we see evil. If you see that 50 million potential Americans, newborn, were killed without even having the chance to defend themselves, and we don't say a word, I think one day we'll be judged on that. And I'm not here to judge. You do what you want. It's your right to do whatever you decide. But I think that's part of it. We're here. We've been given a limited time on this planet. We may not win the battle maybe in this dimension, but for sure we have a chance to say and do the right thing. And that's all I ask you. Because at that point, at least we will be gone, we will be leaving this planet. We know that we have no regrets and we did our best. Please, any questions?
There's concerns about the national health care. Because in my opinion, and as a retired nurse, we're going to have less than quality of health care. Plus, people are being required to go into the system. Do you feel this is constitutional?
You're talking about the affordable Obamacare?
That is not affordable, yes.
I know that. I know. My insurance, by the way, from $150 went now to $400. And I'm one of the lucky ones, because I still can keep my plan. This is a complete takeover, guys. But let's be realistic here. It didn't happen just right now with Obamacare. This is probably the biggest thing we are facing now. But we let happen many other little things. For example, the government now decides that has the power to make you buy a product that for something that's supposed to be for yourself, and it does not infringe other people's rights. Okay, so it's your health. They tell you that they own your body. Think for a moment now, the seatbelt. Hey, you are a slave. We are slaves. The moment that you don't put a seatbelt, you're gonna get a fine. After all, it's the same principle of the healthcare. It's my body. I'm not endangering anybody else. The moment that though I don't put a seatbelt, government gave me a fine. Why? It's my body. Why you force me to put a product on me? I know it was a minor little thing, we let it slide. Same thing with education. I have no kids. Why should I pay, force with a gun pointed at my head, property taxes for a product or a service that I don't want or need? Because I trust you something. If I had a kid or a bunch of kids, I would homeschool them. Why should I be forced to pay for that product? Same concept as healthcare. Think about it. Sorry.
Luca, I disagree on the...
Go ahead, please. I like to disagree.
Primarily because the Founding Fathers felt education, all students should be educated in the science of government.
Okay.
Is that not true?
Where are you? Here. Oh, perfect. Okay, good. Listen, this is socialism, what you just said. If you believe with that, that's fine. What did we do as a nation before we had this? We had churches, we had private. Why should you force me, not as an act of charity, but with the force and coercion of the government to pay for that? If you can force me to pay for your child, you open the gates of hell, I should be paid for anything else. Simple as that. If you follow the logic, let's go with the logic. Let's also, you should pay for my rent, by the way. Why not for my abortion? Why not for my pills? For my doctor, please. It's the same concept.
I don't agree.
It's okay, we don't need to agree. All I know that this nation wasn't founded on government coercion to pay for somebody else's bill. Okay? It was founded on freedom, responsibility, family, charity, faith. We went through very well without government pointing guns at us. That's not charity. That's robbery. That's violence. The moment that I don't pay for property taxes, you think you own your property, right? We think. No, we don't. We're just rentals. And the woman just lost their home for $6 of interest of taxes. By accident, she didn't know she didn't pay. $6. She lost more than $300,000 home, a widow. Wake up. We've been taken over. You know what happened, all this mess with the property taxes? 1913, started to get along with that. We all been sold as collateral to these bankers. Anyway, we don't need to agree on everything. All I know that one thing, we should start to stand together. We're all in dangers, and the point is, there was a little documentary from CBS during the 70s with an FBI informant that he infiltrated Bill Ayer, the Weather Underground group, probably you're aware of it. And this person was on CBS, it was there in this meeting. And the meeting was about what are we going to do, what are they going to do after they take over America. They infiltrate the political structure, they infiltrate the schools, the education, all the different important parts of our government. What are they going to do with people like us that estimated there were more than 25 millions? That's a big question. They're not going to be able to reprogram us, to re-educate us. The answer was very simple, according to this FBI informant, that you can Google this YouTube video, it's there. It's not a conspiracy. Kill them all. How? Very simple. First of all, they use our own laws. We have FEMA camps ready to go, guys, okay? We have a few billion rounds that Homeland Security just bought. More than 3,000 armored vehicles. We have one in Kingman right now. $1 million armored vehicle. Why? Not even in Iraq they were given these vehicles. You realize that? We have, just to let you know, right now, write it down, and don't trust me, FEMA.gov, just a few months ago, signed an agreement with Russian military troops to have Russian armies special troops stationed already in Colorado, ready to patrol and keep U.S. soil safe in case of an emergency. Think about it. We go now with all this show with fighting with Russia, and we have a special deal behind our back. The small arms treaty is being signed by Senator Kerry. We know that we are one step behind, just behind from a crisis. And there are enough executive orders. It didn't start with Obama, but Obama, of course, really cranked it up, that we can go overnight like that over martial law. At that point, yeah, we can have differences of opinion about if we should be forced to pay for somebody else's education. We may agree, disagree. That's not the problem. I wish this is our main problem. Main problem that people like us, one day we may look at each other, maybe hiding in some holes, like my grandfather had to do fighting the Nazi in the mountain around Rome. Seriously. So, yeah, I hope we can talk more about this. All I can say is we have right now a limited time of opportunity to try to work the political system, especially state and local level. We can do a lot of good things. At the same time, start to have a plan B. Plan B that, like at the bandits, we were facing the government or whatever they are, people pointing guns at us. Many of us were disarmed. But guess what? Probably the reason why there was no violence, because behind us there were a lot of good men with their rifles ready to defend us. So I tell you something, I'm not here advocating for violence, but I tell you the Second Amendment, it is not just something to read once in a while. Use it, exercise it, practice it, get together, have fun, don't be paranoid, enjoy it. If you have a veteran, use them. Go together to the range. Because this one day maybe not going to happen, but if it happens, seriously, think about that. We have Russian troops, guys. Chinese troops right now are sitting in Hawaii for the first time of American history. Google it, mainstream news. The southern air defense system of our southern border since March 2013 has been shut down. Write it down. That's what I do. I do research. I have a Sunday radio show. I'm not that good. I'm not an entertainer. All I do, I try to warn my fellow Americans living in this reality, in this county, with this information. Because that's where we are. We're so close. Any other question? By the way, if you want to know more about what I do, you can go to my website, www.zanna.us.
Quick comment and a question.
Yes, sir.
In the past, people have said, well, we know how bad things are. What can we do? As a citizen, how can we go home and do something? That's why we started the Tea Party here.
Yes. That's a good start. You're already doing something. You want to learn information. We want to learn from each other, number one. Number two, I suggest, in my humble opinion, become a precinct committeeman. I don't care which party. Become one. If you believe in the Constitution, sometimes that's where you really need to be, because that's where you can make a difference immediately. Then if you can, run for any office. School boards, fire department. You don't need to go to Washington. You don't need to go to Phoenix. If you are retired, you got time, you got the will, do it. You can make your difference right there. Run for any office. And then, as I said before, in any moment of your life, you will be given the opportunity to do something, to say something. Sometimes it can be also just at the post office. Sometimes it can be writing a letter to the editor. Sometimes it's just to be at the next city council meeting or in front of your congressman when it comes to town. And don't be afraid to keep the things you think inside you. That's our problem. We've been conditioned for too long to be afraid and don't speak out the truth that we believe.
Anybody else with some questions?
Okay, I think at this point I'll let you go. And I'd like just to remind you, Sunday, You can also listen from here, but also on the website it's even easier. You can go to my website, lovegunsfreedom.com. My little radio show, it is about pretty much everything I've been talking here. This Sunday I will have a very important person, in my opinion. She's an expert. She also was witnessing her experience in front of the United Nations panel, that, by the way, another thing we must learn, United Nations is the enemy of this country, just to let you know. But anyway, her name is Rosalinda Peterson. She's from California, and she's one of the top experts in what we call geoengineering. When you see these planes coming down and doing crisscross axis, that's not a regular day in America. You will listen if you want to Sunday, there's more information. Also, I will have Representative Sonny Borrelli, that I'm pleased that he took the time to research about this geoengineering/chemtrails problem. He's trying to learn. That's why I will bring him in front of Mrs. Peterson. So maybe we can learn from each other and we can start to take care also of this problem, because it is not just about trying to destroy us politically, they also want us pretty much dead. That's the bottom line. Go ahead, ma'am.
What is the website?
The website for the radio show is lovegunsfreedom.com. Sunday, every Sunday, 11 a.m., same hours right now. Otherwise, you go on 1340 a.m. on your radio. I really thank you very much for being here, and I'll be here sitting down a few more minutes before I leave. And it's been my pleasure, my honor to be among you, to be one of you.